Just before we get started on the next game, I want to take a quick moment to let people know that the Animal Crossing incentive poll is now open for us to choose whose house we're designing in the Happy Home Paradise Designer run being done later on tonight before we close off today. Our options are Raymond, who wants a home that looks like a tailor shop, Kid Cat, who wants a secret base, Tom Nook, who's the free choice where you just give him bells, surprise surprise, Isabel, who wants a moment to relax, and Sable, who technically this is enabled sister, so it's another free choice. So that is currently open for you. It's an ongoing bid war. If you want to see any of those characters get their own paradise home, feel free to donate again through the QR code, doing !donate, or using the link down below under the stream. But now we have Paradise Killer All Convictions by RoadkillRevenge, and on commentary we have Pixelloren, so I'll let you take it away.
Hey everybody! I am here again. It is I, your friendly neighborhood RoadkillRevenge, and I'm excited to show off yet another of my speedruns. And today I am joined by my lovely commentator. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Nice to meet y'all.
Alright, so today I am running Paradise Killer All Convictions, which is a really interesting run, but right before I jump in, I just wanted to point out that in the options there are a few things that I have changed, so if you're interested in running the game or played it casually and notice that I do things a little bit differently, there's some settings that we change in order to make the run a little bit faster, so it might be a little bit different looking than a casual playthrough. But alright, I'm about ready to get going, so the timer is going to start right now when I click New Investigation in 3, 2, 1... go. All right. Let's go. So this is Paradise Killer All Convictions. And Paradise Killer is an indie murder mystery game that released a couple years ago with a really interesting world and really interesting aesthetic. It's very different than a lot of other games that I've speedrun before because it has a lot of just smashing through dialogue, and that's a lot of what I'm going to be doing, but it also has interesting platforming because it is actually an open world game that lets you explore the island in whatever order you would like, which is something that makes it really interesting and unique. So right here at the start, I'm going to be talking to this character, Shinji, and just smashing through the dialogue as fast as possible, alternating left click and E in order to get through the dialogue a little faster. And then I'm going to be running down through here. This is our main character's penthouse that we are in, but we are not going to be seeing it for very long in the run, unfortunately. I'm going to be running over here and grabbing this Starlight computer, which is going to be a handy tool for us on our investigation, trying to figure out how to solve the crime to end all crimes, which is one of the many, many conspiracies and crimes that occur over the course of this game. And yeah, so it also serves as like our cell phone and information gathering tool, and we're going to be seeing it over throughout the run. So the judge is calling us. Again, I'm just going to be smashing through this dialogue as fast as possible and running over to this nightmare interface, which is just a puzzle mechanic in this game that is just sort of about matching symbols. So I'm going to be trying to get the correct symbols, and I pressed way too many buttons on accident, so I had to unselect some of them. Okay, and now I'm going to be waiting to jump over this barrier to enter the world a little bit early. So while we are going through this amazing intro sequence, Lauren, do you want to tell us a little bit about this game?
All right, so we're going to explore this really just buck wild liminal space island where I guess we could say like a regicide has happened.
Yeah, kinda.
There's a big-time class hierarchy on this island, or at least there was when the island still had living people on it. You've got these rich, immortal people, which includes our friend Lydia here. They are the syndicates. They are all-powerful, and they had a slave class of citizens that they kidnapped from Earth to do labor for them, living in little concrete apartment buildings everywhere.
Yep, so we'll definitely be talking a little bit about the lore in the plot of this game, but this goes by so fast that it's so hard to even touch on some of the interesting stuff that goes on in the background. But for now, I'm talking to the judge, who is going to be telling us some key information here at the start. Notably, she's going to be telling us about the prime suspect, who is a human mortal named Henry. But there's a lot of suspicious stuff regarding the timeline, and all the details don't add up, which is why our protagonist, Lady Lovedies, has been brought in from exile in order to solve this crime. And I got an unfortunate glitch there. Sometimes it won't let you open that door if you do it too fast. And I'm immediately going to be running out into the island and starting our run. I'm going to be collecting a couple different resources. The most important one is blood crystals, which is the currency of this game. And I'm going to be using blood crystals to unlock fast travel locations and also buy a couple pieces of evidence that are critical for the run. And as you can see, there is a platforming element. I'm going to be running and jumping around and clacking around very comically in Lovedies' giant heels that she manages to do all this parkour in. And now I'm making my way to the first character that we are going to be hanging out with, and that would be Witness. Witness is a really interesting character. Basically, on this island is an island that is about to be destroyed and replaced with a newer, better island. And on every island, they have this guy, Witness, who his whole job is, he's sort of a religious figure, and he basically is always the last person to leave the island. He basically witnesses the end of the island. But the funny thing is, we're trying to increase our relationship with him so that he'll give us some important information later. But the funny thing is that the fastest way to get through this conversation is to just, like, tell him to shut up, basically. And he still increases his relationship with you and will still give you the information, even though you're just nothing but mean to him the whole time, which is just really funny to me. We are going to be seeing him a couple times during the run. So now I'm essentially just routing around trying to collect these blood crystals and trying not to fall off that building at a weird angle, because it's very easy to overshoot that little area with blood crystals. And now we are introduced to the second collectible that I'm going to be paying attention to, which is the vending machine. So we're going to need to be getting a handful of these vending machines, and it will become apparent here shortly, because by getting enough sodas from vending machines, we can unlock an upgrade for Starlight, which will allow us to solve more puzzles and collect more evidence. So chat, Paradise Killer says hydrate or dehydrate, so if you want to make sure you're plenty hydrated for the rest of the amazing runs, I challenge you to take a sip of water or whatever beverage you have handy every time I pick up a vending machine. Have a nice little beverage.
Or just down an entire soda.
Yeah, like
That's
Lovedies does. Yeah, she really is throwing them back over the course of the first little bit of this run. So this area is nice because there's a bunch of blood crystals in like a very small area, so I'm going to be grabbing all of those, and then just heading over here to another vending machine, and that is very conveniently right next to the next movement tech we're going to be getting, which is a dash. The dash, you can basically do just this forward dash in the direction that the camera is facing, once per jump, basically. However, there's actually a way to manipulate it to where you can just barely touch the ground, and you can really use the dash to move very quickly over like long flat areas. So you'll be seeing that over the course of the run. So let's talk, Lauren, do you want to talk a little bit about what makes all convictions different than any percent in this run?
Yeah, so with any percent, technically you can, this game is an open world.
Oh gosh, I totally fell.
You can, oh no. You can actually solve the murder in the simplest way by just simply starting the trial like 2 minutes after the game starts and just accept that, you know, the guilty party's narrative that the citizen Henry has done all murders that ever happened. And, you know, just go home. And everybody lived their lives, except Henry, who dies.
Yeah. And all the other people who got murdered.
And all the other people who got murdered, but, you know, they're fine.
Oh, no.
All Convictions, however, is really a more truer play of the game, where you're actually trying to convict everybody for the crime that they actually did commit. So basically you convict everybody but Henry.
Just about, yeah. So that's a minor spoiler, but this is going to be a very spoiler-filled run, but there's still a lot of stuff that we are not going to be doing that is some really interesting side plots in the game. So now we're talking to Crimson Acid, who is probably like the best character in the game. We are going to be buying some things from her, including one of the Starlight upgrades I mentioned earlier. Hers is probably the easiest to get because you simply just pay her for it. The others are a little bit more involved, like having to get the sodas or having to do a side quest that we're going to be seeing here in a little bit.
She's a simple woman who lives in a simple sewer.
Sewer, yeah, she lives in this. She has a really nice penthouse in there, though. You do eventually get to see it if you hang out with her enough. So, continuing to unlock that fast travel location because we are going to be coming back to visit Crimson later. Going to be grabbing more blood crystals and some more collectibles. So now would be a great time for some donations or other things that you would like to read.
Suddenly we have $25 from Void Samus saying, Paradise Killer, here's $25 for a perfect 25 with a little heart at the end.
Yes.
That goes towards Moustache Flip the Track as well as Kid Cat for the Animal Crossing Designer poll. So Kid Cat currently at the lead with $25. Again, you can donate and change all that. We have plenty of time to do so, so get your donations in.
Alright, thank you so much for that extremely generous donation. It's for a really great cause. So while I'm collecting these blood crystals, I'm not going to be collecting blood crystals over the course of the entire game. We just need them for basically, the main thing we need to get them for is for those vending machines, and please, thank you. The movement in this game is very interesting. It takes a little bit of getting used to with how finicky the flash is of the dash, and sometimes it just gets stuck on stuff, but that's okay. We got out of there okay. I also went ahead and picked up an extra blood crystal there just for backups in case I miss one later, which can happen and does happen because there's a lot of them over the course of the run, so of course backups are really handy to have. I'm going to be picking up this item, which is going to be something we turn in on a side quest later rather. What is time? Earlier, later, you know, same. So one more vending machine, and then I'm going to be doing some pathing over here and just collecting a bunch more stuff. So you might be noticing this guy who's just sort of hanging out that I've been jumping over, this blue fella. His name is Shinji. He's another sort of collectible in the game, but that pops up all over the island. And he is actually a demon. Oh gosh, I don't think I've ever messed that up before. There's another sip for you if you're taking the Paradise Killer hydration challenge. But yeah, so Shinji is a demon, which is actually sort of problematic in this game, but it's just so funny to me that Lady Love Dies just sort of accepts him. Also, this is a ghost. Don't worry about it. We're talking to a ghost. She becomes really relevant to the plot later on. You can actually land on the terrain there in such a way to where you can jump over her a little bit easier, but sometimes it's faster just to run past and just wait for her to despawn. Oh my gosh, I keep messing these up. So now we are heading to talk to our next character that we hang out with, which is Lydia, if I can make the jump. Which we saw Lydia earlier. She is sort of the fairy woman of the island. Do you want to talk about her a little bit?
She is your best friend from before Exile. You've known her for, I imagine, centuries and centuries, and she's also the only person with a car, because nobody on this island can drive. She has a really sweet backstory with her and her skeleton husband.
Yep.
We stan Lydia.
We do stan Lydia. So I'm going to be taking this fast travel location to have her immediately drive us all the way back to where we first started, which is near the courthouse, because we're going to be doing some interesting routing to finally take all of those software updates we've been collecting for Starlight and go and install them. So I'm going to be going back to this fast travel location and heading over this corner and traveling sort of through the woods, I guess. Also, there's definitely a glitch happening right now that I have never seen before. I do not know why that use thing was on the screen. So that's fun. I've never seen that. And now we are going to be...
that statue.
I was way distracted by the giant UI element on the screen. Okay, so this should be the final vending machine. So hope everybody in chat is plenty hydrated. We're going to be chatting with Dead Nebula here, and then as soon as we do that, he's telling us basically where our prize is at, and I'm going to be holding a button to force myself to respawn, which will make me spawn at the nearest save point / fast travel point, which just conveniently happens to be in this warehouse right next to the final Starlight upgrade, or the next Starlight upgrade, I guess I should say. Gonna be doing some little dashes. Surprise, surprise! You thought I lied a little. I said that was the last vending machine, but we got one more. But this one is not for hydration. This one is for the technology secrets. Yeah. The two things you can find in vending machines in this world is hydration and secrets. Sometimes both, as it turns out.
I think that's real life too. Really.
That's probably
true.
It right. Yeah. Wow, that wall was being not very nice to me. Okay, we're going to be grabbing this cheeky little one up here and heading to turn in Ezra's keycard. I mentioned his name was Ezra earlier. He's a ghost of a human that got murdered on this island. There's a lot of humans that have been murdered on this island, and now that you give him his name, he gives you his locker code, which we could use to get some really important things here in a moment. So now would be another really good time for some donations or reads.
Certainly, so as you may notice, this is a super showcase for those just tuning in, which is an all-woman charity talent showcase during the 6th of July to the 9th, benefiting CARE. The super showcase features a bunch of talented women showcasing off games that they love. Make sure to tune in during the weekend and tell your friends. We still have another day tomorrow, and I feel like it's another half a day. It goes on to 6 AM for me, so that's what I'm going off. There's still plenty of time for today. But did you also know that for Lady Arcade's Super Showcase 2023 we have merch? Every $5 for every Super Showcase t-shirt will be donated towards CARE. Support the charity and get a sweet t-shirt. You can type !merch into the chat for a link to the shop, or visit ladyarcadus.com/shop.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So what I did just there was I went about halfway back down that bridge or a little bit further and then purposely jumped into the water so that it would respawn me once again at the nearest save point. And I'm having a little bit of trouble climbing this bridge. Come on, Love Dice. Dig in those heels, girl. Let's go. We got somewhere to be.
She can, Lady Love Dies does not die by fall damage in this game.
Thank
but
goodness.
She does die if she walks into 4 feet of water. So.
Yes. Her makeup is not waterproof, which is a problem. And so she perishes the moment she lands in the water.
Same, honestly.
So this is actually the first piece of key evidence that we've collected so far, and we're going to be collecting a lot more of it here shortly. This is another sort of mystery that was on the island in addition to like the council's deaths. One of the other members of the syndicate had been missing, and we just discovered his body, and he had a ring on his hand, which is really funny to me because it ends up being enough evidence to like, just him having somebody's item on him is enough to convict that person. It's, like, the most, like, flimsy evidence ever, but, yeah, we haven't even talked about Yuri yet. We'll talk about him a lot more. He's a character that we do not end up even talking to in the speedrun, but he ends up going down for the most things. He is just the worst, and nobody likes him.
He goes down for, like, 5 different crimes on the flimsiest evidence.
Uh-huh. Yep. And so now I am. I did a little bit more respawning manipulation to try and get me to unlock specific fast travel things I wanted to get to because we are going to be hanging out with Lydia again. This is going to be the last time we see her, but it is going to be showing us another mechanic that we haven't seen so far, which is probing. So once you increase your relationship with people enough, and you have certain key things that they have information about, they will tell you, they'll basically testify to something that will give you a key piece of evidence. So because we have that ring and because we've hung out with her enough, she's going to tell us that that ring belongs to Yuri, and then we're like, oh, okay, that's all the evidence we need for that particular crime.
Yuri's mean to us anyway. We don't like him.
Yep, and I accidentally just talked to her again, which for some reason I have a tendency to do that with her specifically. Okay, so now we are headed to the Dead Zone. So you might be seeing this giant brutalist building over here. That is where we are going. So let's talk about Dead Zone and demons a little bit. You wanna elucidate on the lore here while I focus on this puzzle?
All right, so how these islands, so we're on island perfect 24 or whatever, not perfect 24, just island 24. That's because there was 23 other islands that all got corrupted by demons, and that's why they had to kill off the islands. This concrete building that we're walking into is the Dead Zone, and this is the site of a demonic possession, which they just dropped about 3,000 pounds of concrete on it and said, nah, it's fine. It's fine. Like, we're just gonna seal this entire apartment block off to keep it from corrupting all the good parts of our island.
Yep. But as it turns out, having a giant quarantine zone is a perfect place to hide secrets, and we are about to discover some of those right now. So that puzzle I just completed was why we were running around and getting those starlight upgrades, because those basically give you the access to different kinds of symbols that are used for certain puzzles and gives us access to new areas. In the speedrun, we basically get all of the upgrades before we do any of the puzzles and then just do all the puzzles at once. So now I'm exploring the Dead Zone, got some information about this secret demonology bunker that was in there. That's going to be very important evidence later. As well as this blood chiller, who is going to be giving us evidence towards a character named Sam, who is one of the other fabulous characters that unfortunately we never get to talk to in the speedrun.
Such a shame.
So now we have the tunnel. I'm going to be attempting to get through this tunnel without bonking my head. Slight motion sickness warning. The dashes in this game do have a lot of motion blur associated with them, and it's very finicky and weird. But I got through it okay. Not my best, but also not my worst. So now we're going to be acquiring another key item. You want to talk about what we're doing here and what we're investigating?
So this is the backside of the character Sam's bar that he owns. We're now pilfering through his things to find evidence against him. Like the good cops that we are. We're very good at our job. We're getting some bunker gauntlets, which is going to help us discover more secrets just in the ground.
Yep. If you saw a pair of bunker gauntlets on the ground, wouldn't you want to pocket those as well? I know it's technically evidence, but they're also really cool, so
yeah, and I'm just gonna punch whatever with them too, especially weird spots on the ground.
So now we are climbing to the top of the dead zone that we were in earlier and solving another puzzle. This is going to essentially be releasing demon energy as what the heck? Sorry, I got really confused there for some reason. And that is going to serve as a distraction and allow us to get into another key area later, which is the military bunker? Is that what it's called? I always forget what it's called. Military barracks, that's the word. And it was a B word.
There's a bunch of guards that won't let us in there unless we release all these demon farts directly into the atmosphere.
It's an excellent distraction.
Yeah, they freak out and they go investigate the farts, I guess. And then we can go pilfer through somebody else's things.
Yep.
Like the good cops we are.
A lot of pilfering in this run.
A lot of pilfering.
Now we're going to be fast traveling once again to travel back to this graveyard path that we unlocked earlier. And this is a fun little skip. So normally to get over here you have to solve this bridge puzzle to open this door. But there's enough gaps in the terrain here where you can actually very easily just go over it, and then we don't even get to see the area that the puzzle is in to access this nightmare computer, which is going to give us some more keys information about a separate crime related to a character called Grace Bloodlines. We're probably not going to talk about her a whole lot because that's a whole side plot, but she's a very interesting character, and as it turns out, she's also the ghost that we saw earlier, and also,
rob her grave.
Yeah, we're gonna rob her grave really quickly, and then she's gonna show up, and she's not upset about that at all. And she gives us this giant exposition jump here, so this would be another great time for some messages.
You don't test me. There, you got it.
Yes. So Lady Arcura's 2023. Lady Arcura's Super Showcase 2023 is benefiting Kerr, which was founded in 1945. Kerr is a leading humanitarian organization fighting global poverty. Kerr has more than 7 decades of experience delivering emergency aid during times of crisis, working in over 110 countries. Our emergency response focus on the needs of the most vulnerable populations, partially girls and women. To learn more, you can visit the Kerr website at www.kerr.org. If we can also just get that in chat to make things handy, but there you go.
Thank you
Back
so
to
much
you.
for that. So now we are using our handy gauntlets to bust a hole in the ground and find some more secrets. I did a little dash there before this conversation started, and also content warning here for self-harm, and also a loud sound effect. So this is the character Daina Nagate, who is only present for this one scene and is very dramatic, but provides us with some really important information that completely complicates everything we thought we knew about the investigations. And this is also where it becomes sort of clear in the speedrun that we are sort of doing things backwards. It is an open world game, so you can do things in any order, but some of these things are just really funny to have discovered before we even talk to other characters.
Yeah, because we haven't even been to the crime scene yet at this point.
Yeah, it's still going to be a little while before we even get to see it. Do you want to talk about why it's hard to get to the crime scene?
Well, the crime scene is behind 3 different, like, puzzle gates that are supposed to be impossible for anyone to solve. And that's actually kind of why the murder is so significant, is because basically it's like a locked door, or a triple locked door murder case. So it's very significant that, you know, the council members were killed at all. But we're just gonna find tricksy ways to get to them.
Yeah,
anyway.
Somebody killed like 10 immortals, but nobody can even like get there to figure out how it happened or why. Yeah, so that's why we're here. So I'm going to be climbing to the top of these military barracks that we emptied out earlier by switching that valve, and collecting information about another character called Akiko, who is sort of the enforcer on the island, I guess. She's like the
bad cop.
The cop, yeah. And I guess are we the good cop? Good question mark? I think everyone on this island and in this game is a terrible person personally, but
I mean, a cab, but also
yeah. So anyways, we're getting into this bunker to get information about some bad stuff that she was doing, sleeping around with her inferior officers. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on with that, but we're just going to be solving this puzzle and doing some more information gathering. There's a lot more things you can find about this, but again, this category basically involves getting the least amount of information that we need in order to like prove it. So even though like once we get in here you'll see that there's like multiple things that I could investigate, I'm only going to be grabbing the thing on the left here and then leaving, because that is all that I need to prove her involvement in messing with the guards basically, and also stuff involving Grace Bloodline's murder. But anyway, I'm going to be doing another respawn exploit here to get out of this bunker quickly, and then fast traveling to talk to our friend Crimson Acid once again. This time though, we are going to be doing something we don't do very much in the run, which is to like directly ask people about certain crimes. Because by doing that, and by paying her money, because that's how she works, she's going to be giving us, I believe, one of the last pieces of information about Grace Bloodlines. And honestly, now that I think about it, even though I said we weren't going to talk about Grace Bloodlines very much, did I just hang out with her on accident? I did. That is unfortunate. Minor time loss. That's a nice bonus for you all. You got to see me hang out with Crimson Acid and get to see her more, because she's amazing. Okay, so I'm going to be paying for this piece of evidence that I'm going to be using later. That every time you like press her about like how she knows this stuff, she's always just like, "Don't worry about it." But it's very convenient for the run.
The secret lady has more secrets. Who knew?
Okay, so I'm going to be focusing a little bit, because last time I did this, I accidentally activated a glitch I didn't mean to. So if you want to just talk about what I'm about to be doing and whom I'm about to be seeing, that would be great.
All right, so I believe this is where we're going to go see Henry, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah. So Henry is the mortal human that was convicted, or is basically everybody on this island is trying to frame him for the council murder. He lives on this prison island over here, which is a lot less posh than your prison cell that you were in.
So what I'm doing here is normally you're supposed to be trying to like convince a guard to like open the gate to let you go talk to him, which is slow. But as it turns out, it doesn't respawn you instantly when you touch the water. We fibbed a little bit when we were talking about that earlier, and we can utilize that to just like hop over the top of the bridge. Using our dash. So I'm going to be talking to Henry. This is the prime suspect that I mentioned earlier. He's really rude, but I don't really blame him because he's sort of had a rough time, to say the least. He's gone through a lot that we do not have time to explain. But all we need to do is talk to him, and he's going to be telling us about a book that somebody gave him, which led to him getting possessed by a demon. And I'm going to be grabbing these footsteps and being very careful not to walk too far backwards, because if I do, it will trigger a conversation with Akiko, who we do not have to talk to, so it's a huge time loss to talk to her on accident.
Yeah, we don't need to hear about her golden bitch right now.
Yeah. So
we're in a hurry.
So I'm going to be fast traveling back to the graveyard, because once more we are going to be going into this bunker. And even though I went through this earlier, I didn't even talk about the fact that there's like literal portals connecting some of these places, which is how some of these murders have been orchestrated. Not all of them, but some of them. There's a lot of different interlocking things going on at the same time in this game. But I am first going to be going over to talk to Witness one more time. This will be the last time we talk to him. And just like we did with Lydia, we are going to be hanging out with him and then probing him for information about another character called Carmelita Silence, who is heavily involved in all kinds of stuff. Everybody's involved in everything. If there's like one takeaway I can say about this game, just assume somebody's guilty, basically.
People have been busy.
They have been very busy committing all kinds of crime. Okay, so now I'm going to be heading into the crime scene itself, finally, using this portal. There's going to be a lot of new stuff that happens here. So, yeah, now would be another good time for a message or some donations.
Yes, so a couple of things, folks. We have some incentives going on right now. First one will be The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword file name. We have 4 options. We have Uru, which is a reference to Pibby, our wonderful, wonderful community member. Next is Groose, a very notable character in the game. We love Groose. Honestly, probably the best character in the game. Spoomples, which is a Game Grumps reference to when they played the game. And a Period, which is Pibby's go-to single-use character in an Eastern Asian font, so it looks a little bit weird. It's currently a bid war of $60 to Uru and $60 to Spoomples, so someone's going to need to donate because we have a tie on our hands. So if you want to make sure your favourite gets in, is it Uru, is it Spoomples? Could you come in and sideline? Could you overtake everyone and donate Groose with $60.01? It's possible.
It's possible.
But after that, we also have Moustache Flip the Track, which is at $90 and out of 250. So you can also donate to that, as you could donate to both targets and posts at the same time. They're completely free, so why not?
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Definitely be sure to get those donations in. A tie is always just such an exciting thing. It can make a big difference about what we end up getting to see in those runs. So basically what happened here is I went through this portal, and this is like right outside the crime scene where Shinji basically just hands us a piece of circumstantial evidence that once again ends up being enough to convict Yuri of another crime. It's just so funny how ridiculously circumstantial it is. I think there's even a line where Love Dies is like, is that enough proof? And then they're just like, I don't know, sure, why not?
It's just funny because the evidence we have to get on everybody else is like blood samples, and the evidence we have to get on Yuri is like flower petals on the ground.
Yeah, which there are flowers everywhere on the island, but because he has flowers in his hat, It's definitely him, of course. Obviously. So we're actually finished collecting blood crystals for the rest of this run. I'm going to be using one more fast travel location. We're all getting close to the sort of finale of this run, which is the trials. But first we have to go up this elevator and get another piece of evidence from the Syndicate library right here, which is the last thing we need to convict Yuri for one of the many things. Yep.
An overdue library book and some flower petals.
Yep, that is enough. So we're doing this, and then now we are talking to Dr. Doomjazz, which is one of the best character names of any character in any video game ever. You will not convince me otherwise.
Don't.
Oh, I saved it!
You did it. Oh my goodness.
So stressful. So we're going to be talking to Doomjazz, who is the island medical examiner. I was gonna say doctor again, but I was like, technically he is a medical. I just did the wrong thing again. Oh no! Oh no! Please end. I did the bad thing. I accidentally talked to him an extra time. Oh no!
Oh, man.
We're not gonna probe him though. We're gonna talk to we're gonna ask him about the murder of Grace Bloodline. So because he is the medical examiner, his testimony is really important for these last couple of things. So by showing him this photo, he gives us some more information about that. And by asking about one of the third seals and things we found there, he gives us information that connects a couple different people to a crime. There's a lot more information you can get from him, but again, we're trying to get the minimum amount of evidence we need in order to convict the right people for the right crimes. I am so sad that I just talked to him, because that would have been like a huge gold if I hadn't talked to him again on accident. But it's okay. And why not? Let's start the conversation again on accident again. Okay.
At this point, you might as well just go ahead and do his cutscene.
No.
Aww.
Okay. No fan service today. Maybe that'll be an incentive next time. But for now, we are unlocking our final fast travel location and heading all the way back to the courthouse to present all of the evidence we have spent all this time collecting to the judge and finalize our suspects and convict who is guilty of the correct crimes. Hopefully, if I didn't miss anything, if I collected the right amount of evidence, I can exonerate Henry and everybody else who is innocent and move on to the next island. So once you start these trials, it gets super dramatic and the gameplay changes a little bit. But first, basically, we get a little bit more lore happening. The island is about to die, so we have to hurry, basically. And now we get our gun back, which this was a thing that actually has been sitting here the whole game. But they won't let you pick it up until you're ready for the trials. And this is sort of a sign that Love Dies is like back from exile for realsies. So I'm going to be focusing a little bit during these trials, so if you want to sort of take point here, Lauren, and talk about what we're doing here and why.
Alright, so if anyone's ever played Ace Attorney, it's kind of the same idea, except for as we convict these guilty people, oftentimes they will get very dramatic about it, you know, because they're about to die, and they will start taking down their friends with them. So what we're revealing here with this trial is we're getting these people to talk about the conspiracy that they're all involved in. And so, like, for instance, what Akiko's doing right here is, you know, basically taking Carmelita down with her after we prove that she's guilty. Yuri especially is really good for this. When you convict him for anything, he just starts singing like a canary.
Yeah, it's really funny, actually. Because he's involved in everything, and he snitches instantly as soon as he gets a finger pointed at him. As we're about to see. Which is why, it's one of the reasons we don't end up having to talk to certain characters, because just by convicting some characters, they'll provide evidence on others.
Yeah.
And notably, there are actually 10 crimes that we end up having to pass judgment on here. One of which we are going to sort of skip. It's not really like a skip, but sorry, I'm focusing. Sure. But it's a lot of different things that we have to go through, because all of these different interlocking conspiracies. So now we're finally going to get to see Carmelita Silence, who also really doesn't like Lady Love Dice, as it turns out. I wonder why.
She's guilty.
Yeah.
She's the island's architect, as in she's the one who built this whole liminal space with magic. Don't worry about it.
Magic and human sacrifice, yes.
Well, yeah. Well, you need both, apparently. Also, incredibly guilty, incredibly motivated to commit this crime, but, don't worry about it. And fights, I think she tries to maintain her innocence, basically, until, her last breath. Which is so funny, because she is so obviously guilty.
Don't test me. Don't test me. Sorry.
Another kind of fun thing is that her and Witness are this is spoilers, but her and Witness were both masterminding their own separate conspiracies, independent of each other, that involved basically everybody on this island. It ends up being really weird, just because you're finding evidence for both conspiracies all over the island, and for a while you're thinking that they're part of the same conspiracy. But no,
they just both have the same idea, basically, for different reasons. As it turns out, this game has a whole lot of really interesting social commentary about the hubris of the elite, basically. It's just very, very interesting the way that it ends up playing out when you think about it. Anyway, we're continuing to accuse Yuri of many things. This is the things I was talking about, where it's just anyway, there is a space helmet with flower petals, and the judge is well, obviously he's guilty. A space helmet that a demon handed to us.
My headcanon is that the judge brought us out of exile just because he hated Yuri that much.
Yeah! That seems plausible. I think that that's a valid reading.
Well, obviously he doesn't really care about Henry. It can't be that.
No, yeah.
Nobody cares. I mean, Henry, the stupid thing is that we prove he's innocent through this trial. Completely innocent. And then he dies anyway. Because he's a citizen and can't move on to the next island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. Do you want to talk about the islands, what we mean when we're talking about the islands a little bit, in terms of the lore?
Right, so Carmelita keeps making these islands for us. These islands are supposed to be, places for these all-powerful syndicate members to live while the citizens slave away and provide the life that they so want to live. Problem is that these islands keep getting corrupted and falling apart because the citizens will get possessed by demons, or apparently there was an uprising on one or two of them. So they make a new island every time the old one, gets corrupted. They kill off all the citizens, and they kidnap new ones.
Yep.
Just restart it. And this new one, Island 25, is supposedly the perfect island. They got it right this time, guys.
Of course they did. Of course they did. Also, we are now convicting Sam Daybreak, which is a little bit tragic because he's one of the characters we didn't meet, but he and Lydia are married, and she goes down with him, and it makes me very sad.
They're ride or die.
They're very ride or die. We stan Sam and Lydia in this house. Oh no, I don't need to save.
If anyone needs ideas for a good couple tattoo, this is it. Sam and Lydia.
Yes. Okay, so this is where I have to be sure that I don't click the wrong option here. If you click more truth there, it asks you to accuse an extra person, and it's much, much more slow than just basically saying, no, I think you have enough on them, and then the judge will automatically convict the right people if you click the right option there, which is really convenient. Because we have to do a lot of these, so it's nice to have one less that we have to go through. Alright, so we have 2 more to go. This next one is finally Witness, who I believe I always lose track of what even crime we're talking about at any given moment with how fast they go by. But this is where we're using the evidence of the demonology bunker and also confessions from Lydia and Sam.
Yeah, Witness, what he did was he snuck a demon past the third seal.
Is this a fact?
And maybe that demon is who killed the council, or maybe it was Danganronpa. We don't really... It's unclear.
Danganronpa.
Sorry, Diana Bate.
Yes.
I always forget how to pronounce that.
Yes, it's a fun name. And he is not here to defend himself, unfortunately. As we know, he is still in the bunker. But he, as it turns out, is the prime suspect for the crime to end all crimes. He is the Paradise Killer. Spoilers.
Well, you know, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Now,
yeah.
now, he was the Paradise Killer. Now he's a chalk outline.
Yeah. Like so many others.
Like so many others.
Okay, so that is the final crime. So now that we have unveiled the tendrils of conspiracy, as the judge likes to say, basically Love Dice here just walks through step by step everything that everybody did and how they were involved. So if you're still like hesitant about spoilers, now is the time to sort of, you know, maybe tune out and enjoy the one-liners for a moment, and maybe listen to some wonderful donations or messages that we have lined up.
Paradise feels wrong. Crime is repulsive.
We do indeed. We have
Or a
the
trick.
Animal Crossing
I don't like
Who Are We
this.
Designing For poll, which is coming up at the end of today. We want to know who we going to be designing a paradise home for. We have Raymond Kid Cat, who is currently in the lead with $25. Tom Nook, Isabel, and Sable. So if you wish to see your favourite little villager getting their paradise home, be a good incentive to vote for, you know. $25 is the current lead, so anything can change and there's still plenty of time to do so.
Awesome, thank you so much for that. So that was the first conspiracy, and as we mentioned earlier, there are two separate conspiracies, so we have one more truth to uncover here. I believe this one's a little bit shorter than the last one, I'm not quite sure, but I'm just going to be continuing to sit here and spam through this dialogue and letting it all play out. And so we mentioned that the any percent run is really short. That's basically because it consists of starting the game and then running here and immediately doing the trial, and that is the entirety of the run. In all convictions, it is a little bit longer though, because you have a lot more evidence to go through and more crimes that you uncover. But yeah, it's a very very strange run in any percent, in my opinion. Okay, so now we have found justice, and now it is time to make sure we didn't miss anything. So we're going to be going through everybody's sentences and double checking and executing justice.
That one was right. That was 2. We got 2 for Carlita coming up if we did things right. Yep,
Okay.
I count them. 1, 2. We got 2 for Lydia coming up. And
Oh,
no crimes for Crimson. No crimes for the Doom Jazz. No crimes for the Citizen. 2 for Lydia. Boom, boom. We got 2 for Sam coming up if we did things right. Boom. Yep. We got 2 for Witness coming up. And... Ooh,
Yep.
Yep.
the rap
5
on the
for
text
Yuri.
was a little bit worrying there for a second.
Yeah. It looked like 3.
And
But,
there's
yep,
5.
1, 2, 3, 4.
5 for
5 for
Yuri,
Yuri.
who nobody likes, and everybody wanted to go down with them.
And then, like, 3 for Danganronpa. Done. And none for Glen Coco.
It does crack me up that the killer demon gets off free.
Well, he's dead anyway.
Yeah.
He's also
But
a
he
chalk
goes down
outline.
with honor. Oh, so now we have this little epilogue. So the last thing we have to do is make it our way off of the 24th island and onto the 25th. So unfortunately, remember that Lydia is our fast travel. Well, she unfortunately was executed, and no one else knows how to drive, or they do, but her car is away. So I have to take the walk of shame all the way over to the edge of the island. So time is going to be coming up here in just a minute or so. I'm going to be making it to the end of the island, interacting with the car, and then having one final conversation with the demon Shinji. So yeah, this was basically Paradise Killer. It's a really, really cool game, even though some things might have gotten spoiled by watching the run. I would still highly recommend playing it. There's so much more to uncover and see, and it's just a really, really well-crafted mystery. And there's just different order you can discover things, and I don't know, I just absolutely love this game.
It's very satisfying to like.
So get
if
ready
you're-
on time.
especially- Well, if you're an exploratory player, especially, this game very much rewards.
That
you
would
for
be time.
Time.
Okay, whew, that was actually pretty good there at the end, even though I had trouble climbing up on that, that planter a little bit here. Okay, whew, so that was Paradise Killer All Convictions. It's a really great game, like I said, I already gave a little bit of my pitch of it. We were talking very, very fast about all of the lore and stuff, but there's just, it's such a deep, fun mystery game that is super duper unique and has a banger soundtrack, which you could probably hear in the background right now. So thank you all so much for having me and letting me show this game off. It's a pretty new game that I've learned, and there's also a lot that's currently being discovered in it. There's a lot of unknown stuff about like how the evidence works and different routing and stuff. There's a lot of room for changing and optimizing this game still. So yeah, I'd be excited to bring more people in to speedrun it and also just to play it casually and talk about it with me because there is just so much to talk about. So yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/RoadkillRevenge. I periodically stream, not as much as I used to, but I will stream these speedruns and some other ones as well. Lauren, where can people find you around in the interwebs?
I am at Pixelloren on Twitter, Tumblr, and also itch.io. I make Game Boy games, you know, if y'all ever want to go see what that's like.
Yeah, so this was super, super fun, and thank you so much for having us. And be sure to keep those donations coming towards the fantastic cause that we're raising money for here this weekend.
Thank you very much indeed. What another amazing run for the showcase. Folks, we're gonna go to an intermission right now, so be sure not to go anywhere because next up we're gonna have Skyward Sword. We'll see you all then. Well folks, that's gonna be it for me tonight. I've had a wonderful time. Chat has been very cute. So thank yous all for that. It's been a good fun few hours. What was that? 3? 4? I don't know. I was having fun. I wasn't keeping track. But if you want to find me, my name is brokenhyperlink. That's pretty much my name on all social medias that I can think of. If not, find me on another social media and then ask me what it is, because it could be something stupid. But I primarily speedrun obscure Sonic games. On occasion, I might do a more well-known one, but I also don't stream too much because life happens. But hey yo, it's like a holiday when it does. But again, thank you for Lady Arcaders for letting me host, and I will see you all about in chat probably tomorrow. So thank you, and I'll hand off to our next host. But before I do, actually, just as I remembered, we are having a restreamer change, so stream will go down for a few seconds. Do not panic. Chat, you're cute, you don't need to panic, trust me, we're fine. But after about 5 seconds, I need you all to refresh the stream and everything will be back up and running. So, again, thank you for having me, and I will see you all later.